Independent journalist Mike Jones says he constantly monitors the news Western media presents about the Russian troops' special military operation in Donbass. He often travels to the front line and meets people in the liberated territories.
Здравствуйте.
Да. Ждем прям специально. Маленький, поэтому пригинайтесь, чтобы...
Ну, отлично.
What happened so that you moved from marketing to Donbass?
And it was born of the blocking of Russian media. So in gaming, when I did YouTube videos, I'd often cover updates of the games, and I'd deliver news anyway. But I found with my friends privately messaging me and asking me how things are in Russia and the differences, I decided that I would actually make a sort of record. One day they're saying one thing, the next day they're saying another. So I wanted to create a catalogue of these stories and events as it was going on for my own interest, and so that I could refer back and share. And some articles later being deleted as well. So I had that visual record, and that was hugely popular. My channel went from 10,000 to 100,000 subscribers in about 6 months.
Was it like natural growth?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, and then people sharing and showing their friends.
So people are still curious about what's going on. Not everybody is brainwashed.
That's right. And the main thing, I think, the feedback that I've got is that I don't actually say this is the truth. I simply say, well, here's the Western version and here's the other version. And then we can put the two together and decide where the facts lie and who's speaking.
People can
correctly.
decide for themselves.
Yes, they can. And equally, some of the most popular videos I had were interviews or speeches by President Putin or Sergei Lavrov and Maria Zakharova. These are not readily accessible in the West, and yet the words that they're often twisted when they do, if they do reach certainly the British public. But the words have a lot of wisdom behind them, and the ability of these statesmen, diplomats, to pull out the facts and figures off the top of their head, the mental agility that they often demonstrate when compared to the likes of Boris Johnson, Kamala Harris.
Mike Jones's YouTube channel, popular with Western audiences, was shut down with no explanation. So much for much vaunted Western democracy and freedom of speech. But this didn't stop him from continuing to share information with the West by any means possible.
So the transition from gaming to eventually to Donbass came at a point when I heavily criticized Russians for fleeing the country after mobilization in September. So I was heavily criticized for being so outspoken in my viewpoints, and many of the comments were quite valid. They said, you are privileged to be able to criticize others because you're not likely to be mobilized. You're still a British citizen and you're not going to be called up. So it's all right for you in the safety of your home and your chair to point the finger at others and judge them. And I took that criticism to heart and I said, fine, I'll mobilize myself.
You know, maybe it felt like between death and life, which is probably close, this feeling is close to your soul because because of your situation in the family. Maybe we could go back and say 2 words about where you come from, what kind of family and what you experienced in your childhood that made you feel this way.
I grew up in London back in the late 80s, early 90s, and I was in a children's home from the age of 3 to 6 years old. And luckily I was adopted when I was about 6. So I've known what it's like to be in a care home for children, which was another reason why I was keen to help with the orphanages in Donbass and the children there. And when I was in the kids' home, the people of the community donated gifts for Christmas, and that stuck with me for life. The joy, that proved Santa existed. Because these gifts just turned up and they were under the tree, and of course all these kids coming together and tearing paper off, and I think I even got a go-kart, and I loved that thing. I had it for years afterwards, even though the tires had worn out.
С наступающим Новым годом!
Do you miss your mom?
When I grew up, one of my earliest memories is hearing her screams as she was beaten with her own high heels in the kitchen. So I knew it was going on, and even though I couldn't speak, when my grandfather pulled me out, they put me in the car, and my aunt looked around, and I just went like that as about 2-3 years old. So it was quite a rough childhood in London, and you could see it was a good illustration of sort of what a bully, someone who's a bully and abuses their power over someone else, and that left a big impression on me. And I always wanted to do what I was powerless to do back then, and to help those who were victims of such abuses of power.
In June 2023, US President Joe Biden signed into law an increase in the US national debt ceiling, effectively supporting the power abusers. After all, the money serves the interests of the largest American corporations, those playing a dangerous game in Ukraine.
Кто главный бенефициар всей вот этой истории на Украине?
Главный бенефициар всей этой истории на Украине – 3 глобальных инвестиционных корпорации. Это BlackRock, State Street и Vanguard. Они перекрестно владеют друг другом и перекрестно владеют практически всем бизнесом на Западе. В том числе эти корпорации владеют через, опять же, свои купленные ими корпорации, другого типа Monsanto и так далее, 75% пашни на Украине. А украинская пашня – это 3% от мировой пашни и 12% от мирового чернозема. Именно с BlackRock договорился Зеленский о том, что BlackRock будет восстанавливать Украину после того, как закончится конфликт. То есть фактически он продал всю Украину одной корпорации.
Они владеют ВПК акциями?
Конечно же. И BlackRock, и Vanguard, и State Street перекрестно владеют акциями практически всех мировых корпораций, за исключением нашей страны, Китая и Индии.